think it helps us a lot. I mean, it gives us definitely more confidence that, look, we've been there. There's less weight on our shoulders as to the stress of, we have to do this. We have to, it was just a lot of, you know, in a way, it was like anxiety as to, like, why is Coach Harbaugh on the hot seat? Like, we love, like, why does he have to, face like the criticism? Because if anyone wants to beat Ohio State, it's Coach Harbaugh, and I can promise you that. But I think, now that we got that for him. I think now that we know what that looks like, we're going to be even more confident going into that game. I think, a part of being a leader, being a member of this team, is to make sure that, we don't come complacent, not just myself, but as a team. And, I think we have stressed that mentality pretty strong this offseason that, Team 143 is a different team. And what Team 142 did last season doesn't really matter anymore. I think, well, they're extremely good. I think I'm very comfortable back there in a pocket. They definitely have a lot of confidence in themselves, and that's something that's stayed pretty consistent. That, when it's short yardage, they want us to run the ball. Like, it's not as much of, whoever's in the backfield, whatever it is, they want the coaching staff to put trust in them that, we're gonna believe in them to get that first down. And I mean, they're very similar. I mean, almost the entire starting line, but I think, Andrew Stardust was a huge part of our offense last season. And, I'm thankful, for what he did. And I'm super excited to see what Olu can do, because he is a beast. And I mean, losing Andrew Stuber, another big part of our offense, but, we have guys who can fill that position as well. And, as camp goes, we'll see who that is. And I definitely do not have any fear as to what that offensive line can do. Yeah, I mean, I have kind of been in a competition, with the exception of my redshirt freshman year, just every single year that I've been at Michigan. And I mean, that's something that's not really foreign to me at this point. So, um, I mean, anything I do is going to be for the sake of the team winning. And that's what's most important on my mind. And, what comes with that is having good relationships, with my teammates. And really, for me, like, I take a lot of pride in, what I bring to the team from a leadership standpoint. So allowing, you know, negativity or anything like that, I don't think that's healthy for the team, or really for myself either. Yeah, I think actually a lot of dudes were pretty confident that he was going to stay with Michigan. He was very open about, what he was doing. And um, the team respected him. I mean, we love Coach Harbaugh, and we couldn't be happier that he came back. Absolutely. Him and Coach Moore have been really working hard as to, making my job easier, that, I don't have to worry about some stuff. And I know that's the point, and that is really the expectation that Coach Moore wants, not just from Olu, but the rest of the O line, to be able to recognize really the secondary, not just the front. And I think, the more that Coach Moore, works with those guys as well as Olu, it's going to make my job easier. And, I'm confident that he's going to do that. And I mean, you mentioned Andrew Vistardis. I mean, me and him had a great connection, as, where I'm seeing things, and what he's seeing. And I think, as me and Olu just continue to get reps, I'm going to tell, like, if really, in the sense, if one of us is wrong, if we're all on the same page, if we're all wrong, then we're all right. Yeah, I mean, it was extremely meaningful. And I think, as we're going around Michigan right now, we're able to see the impact that it left, not just with our team, but, the fan base itself and the state itself. I think, a lot of the guys are starting to realize, the platform that we have. and especially when Michigan football is winning, what that means for the state and the people in it. And I think, a lot of us have grown an appreciation for that, and we just want to continue to do that for our fans and for our state. Um, in a sense, I was surprised to how kind of out of hand I thought it was. I thought the gap was pretty big during that game, and I'm sure, Ohio State didn't feel very good about that. And, you know, I know that the O line was very confident in themselves going into that game. And, you know, that was our identity last season, was that we're going to be physical. And I do not see that changing. Yeah, we have plenty of guys in that room. I think, again, we're gonna find out here soon. As we go into camp, we're preparing to win football games. We're spring ball was kind of spent looking at who those guys could possibly be, and I think we have a good idea of who our playmakers are going to be this year. But I think um, H2 was an extremely good player, and I loved playing with H2. But I am extremely confident in that room. Um, I mean, I feel like the majority of the players are not going to worry about it as much when it doesn't have an effect on them, and I think that's really the only way they can approach it. At least at the University of Michigan, we have not allowed NIL to affect our locker room. We have not allowed the transfer portal to affect us in a negative way. If a guy didn't, if a guy didn't get an opportunity at another school, and we think he can help, like of course, like if anything, like him being able to play, like Olu, for example, like I mean, if Olu wasn't able to somehow play this season, like that would be super unfortunate. But fortunately, we have Olu to play this season, and um, we're all pretty appreciative of that. So I mean, with the everything as far as NIL, as far as the transfer portal, as far as all these conferences kind of switching up a little bit, I think in a way, um, the only teams I'm worried about are the ones on our schedule. I think I'm in a place that I can benefit from it a lot, and I'm very appreciative of that. And um, I'm really happy that Michigan has done events and things for not just maybe the starters on the team, but for all players as well. And I think, in my vision, I think that's the best of NIL. That not just maybe the more popular guys get really all of it. I think when the entire team can benefit from it, um, that's a version of NIL that I like. Yeah, I think there's a lot of respect when an older guy comes in, um, and I know me and Olu share a very good mutual respect for one another, and I think a part of that I was able to develop. My first 2 years at Michigan really was I was able to learn how can I impact my teammates, how can because I did not have that voice at that time. How can I impact an individual from just how can I leave a better imprint on him, or how can I inspire our team for the better from an individual basis. And I think those constant repetitions that I was able to get during my first 2 years just really helps me do that with any player we come across now, whether that's the transfer portal, whether that's our incoming freshmen. And I think now that I have that voice, I think in a way it's easier for me that I'm able to help guide a guy who maybe hasn't had as much reps as me or whatever that is. And I'm just, happy that I'm able to do that for them. it should be a foundation. I think everyone in our program is very confident in the culture that we have developed, and I think it should be here to stay. I think for this season at least it is. I think the guys are confident in not just our ability, but what we've created at Michigan is from a culture standpoint, from a mentality standpoint, has been such a big difference over the last couple of years, and I see it. I only see this continuing to grow, and I'm just here, and some of the other guys that are here today are here to make sure that we stay on track. Yeah, it feels good. I mean, the last time we were here, there's confetti on us, which felt good, but those feelings that we felt, as they're being triggered right now, um, it only makes you want to work harder. And I think seeing the other teams, being in this atmosphere, it gets us excited that we're close to real football again, and of course it's going to be motivating. Um, I visited the shoe when I was in like seventh grade. Just walked around it, and I've heard plenty about it. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it. Yeah, I think we're in the process of that right now. I think at the University of Michigan, what Coach Harbaugh has done from a trip standpoint, I was fortunate enough to be one of the guys who made the South Africa trip. I mean, that is a core memory that'll stay with me for the rest of my life. And I think really, we always think about like kind of what we achieved as a team. But really, the funnest times are we're in the weight room, we're mess around in the locker room or whatever it is, um, or even for me, some of the crazier games are the ones that we kind of don't talk about, like when we were in Nebraska last year, or for the majority of our team, their first visit to an away game with fans last year. I think like half of our team had not played in a game with fans in another stadium till last season when we played Wisconsin. And I think just even from the littlest experiences um, to where we are now, I think it's just been a blast, and I just can't wait to keep making some memories. Yeah. Um, I mean, we have so many guys. I think really, I'm excited to see. I mean, we keep talking about. I'm just gonna keep talking about like just who's gonna step into their roles. I think this year, and I think we're gonna find that out here soon. But I think you know um, our freshman class is really good. Both sides of the ball. For me, like the wide receivers, they're really talented. Darius, Tyler, Omarion, like these guys are a walkie. I mean, these guys are good. And I think from the youngest guys to maybe the ones that are waiting to take their opportunity. I'm gonna let them do that themselves, and I just can't wait for them to do it. Well, yeah, that stung. I mean, we lost 2 games last year, and that was one of them. And I think the way we lost um, sucked. And I think we're definitely going to circle Michigan State this season. I think you know it was. I mean, it's the same thing. It's upsetting that we lost that game, and that fuels a lot of dudes who did didn't beat them the year before that as well. And I think um, you know we're going to worry about everyone on our schedule, but obviously our goals are to beat Ohio State, beat Michigan State in the same season, win a Big Ten title, and win the national championship. Um, I mean, yeah, we're going to be doing different things. We're going to be experiencing different things. I think, in a way, um, I mean, we still played the spring game, and I mean, for guys to get the opportunity to visit, places of Michigan that they probably would never get the opportunity to if it wasn't for this program. I see it all as benefits. I think, um, as I mentioned before, this is a different team. This is, um, we can't rely on what we did last season to um, give us any really complacency as to what's going to happen this season. We can't lay off the gas pedal at all. If anything, we push it down to the floor because we're going to have an even bigger target on our back this season. I mean, I remember watching those guys when I was a recruit, so I'm not that old, but those guys are good players, and as QBs, like, we like to watch each other. We like to watch film on one another, and um, I like both of those dudes' game. I respect them both a ton, and um, I wish them nothing but the best this season. How's this year different? Well, this is my fourth year, so I mean, it's just one more year of experience. I think, as you get older, you become more aware of things. Um, you just get better through experience and through more reps. And I think, I've done that. Um, I What was it? Can you repeat that, please? Right. Well, I think any quarterback's job should be focused on to make sure the team wins. And I think that whole group is confident that that's our mindset. And if it's not, then we'll change it. Um, I mean, I don't think he's changed a ton. I just love to see the guy happy. I think, the joy that we saw in Coach Harbaugh's eyes. I mean, we mentioned it last year as, we wanted it to win for ourselves, but we also wanted to win that game for Coach Harbaugh. And we're just so happy that we were able to do that last season. And, now we got to replicate it. Well, I take it as an honor that Coach Harbaugh chose me to be here. And I think, I'm not super surprised, but, um, I know my teammates are confident that I'm representing them, and I'm honored to do that. I think really just everyone respects one another's decision. I think, we have a really close team, and we all respect each other. We all love each other. So, really, in my opinion, and I'm sure, the rest of the guys can agree with me that, whatever they think or whatever anyone else's opinion is, that's theirs, and they have the right to have that opinion. And that's about it. Yeah, I think um, Coach Harbaugh has given me an extremely different perspective on the game of quarterback. I think, excuse me, I think um, the experience that he had as a player and playing at such a high level, um, the more he's able to give that to me, whether it's in the film room, whether it's on the field, I it I just really appreciate it. I think, whether it's a certain play in practice, whether or whether it's me bouncing ideas off of him about, how should I go about this part of my life. Um, he's there for me, and he's there for everyone on this team, and I think everyone can appreciate that we can go into Coach Harbaugh's office and talk about anything, and he'll give us his best advice on it. Because I know I've gone in there at some tough parts of my life, and he's been there for me. Yeah, I think as you know, really we're preparing for the Big Ten, obviously, but we want to win every single game we can. I think us playing those few games, no matter who the opponent is, it's not going to change our mindset as to how we approach those games or um, how we attack that week. I think they're early in the season, so we're going to be, of course we're going to be juiced. Of course no matter who we're playing, it's not going to change our mindset. So I think no matter who it is, I don't think that has really much of a difference as to, our confidence going into Iowa. I think, those games will prepare us for it, and you know, we'll be confident going into Iowa, and we'll be, you know, we'll have a few games underneath our belt, and that's about it. I mean, I feel like it's my team. I feel like nothing against anyone. I just think, I've put myself in a position that, if I say something, it will be listened to. If I, you know, if anything, really, I think it's just, I'm confident in myself, and I think, you know, I just want to win, and I think, I proved that I can help the team do that last season. Can you repeat that, please? I'm sure a lot of the guys on the offense appreciate it. Me not having to learn a new offense or master a new offense, and with the same with other guys, I'm sure that the guys appreciate it, and we do. And I think it was a great idea because I think both coaches are really good at their job. Um, we'll find out. I don't know. I only care about the teams on my schedule. That's about it. I think I think I've done enough preparation. I think that's what the whole part of the off season is for, is to prepare myself for camp and to make sure that I can be in the best shape and the best mental mindset that I can to help this team win. And I think I've done that, and I'm excited to continue to do that. Yeah, I mean, we definitely know the potential Dono has. We all know his abilities, and they're strong. And um, I think he's gonna have a big season this year, and we're gonna need him to have one too. So definitely have a ton of confidence in that room. Absolutely. Um, I mean, I felt like last year was thunder and lightning, and now we got two lightnings. Um, I think we're gonna find out what the best arrangement for that is, but I think as a competitor, you always want to be on the field, and if I'm as if I think anyone who doesn't have that mindset, then they shouldn't be on the field. Sorry, I love that dude, and we have a. I mean, obviously he's an extremely big human being, but don't get it twisted. He's got a big heart too, and he's a good friend of mine. Um, he's a day one for me since I got to Michigan, and um, I was happy I was able to grow my relationship with him over the course of the last 4 years. And I just really like that dude. I love that guy. Yes, and it's pretty obvious that he's aware of that. I think he knows that um, like now that there's some guys that we lost off that D line, and he wants to step up, and um, I think he's ready for that. I think he's put himself in that position, and he's also put himself in a position to lead that group, and um, I have full confidence that he has that ability and that he'll do that. Well, first off, we after playing Georgia, I kind of mentioned this earlier that we gained, that perspective of, what it's going to take for us to win a national championship, the level of execution, and um, the level of talent we're going to face. I mean, um, that was an extremely talented defense. Obviously, just about one of the best ones in college football, and um, now that we were able to see that, now, you know, it gives us a new perspective as to, what's it going to take for us to win at that level. And um, what was your second question? Okay. Yeah, I mean, H2 was an extremely big part of this offense last season and a part of the team. And, um, but I think, the more we worry about as to who we don't have, we're not going to be focused on what we do have. And I think, we appreciate the leadership and what H2 and Aiden and V and Josh Ross, what those guys did to lay a foundation for us now to perform. And I think, as the season goes, we'll find out our identity, what that looks like in short yardage or what that looks like as our go-to guys. We'll figure that out. Well, I think it's to make sure that we don't return to where Michigan was a couple years ago. The majority of the guys on the team were there for that COVID season, and they know what that felt like, and we definitely don't want to feel that again. So, even though we saw success last season, we don't want to take any steps backwards. Well, yeah, we're gonna want to win that game. I mean, there's some games that you think about, maybe that week or whatever it is, but there are some teams that you think about all year when you're working out, when you're conditioning, and Michigan State's one of those teams, and we're gonna do everything we can to make sure that we don't lose that game.